Hello everyone, it's Lindsay, and today I'm going to show you how I'm documenting through the 30 Days of Thankful memory keeping project. And so I will be using my November kit from the Wild Hare Kits, and I just wanted to pop on and kind of show you how I'm working through this, and then we'll jump in and I'll show you how I do my spreads. So here are the prompts that were put together by a couple of the ladies from the team. I will have this on the blog post so you can follow along too. It's not too late to dive in. I have not been very good about documenting every single day. I usually kind of sit down and batch work through the prompts, which I know is not really the intention, but that's how I'm working on it. And so you've got 30 prompts, and usually what I'll do is in the morning kind of look and see what the prompt is for that day and try to keep in the back of my mind that prompt if a photo opportunity comes up. It hasn't really worked out to where I can get a timely photo, so I've been going through and pulling out some older photos, but that is okay. It still works for this project. So I will have this over on the blog if you want to check out the prompts. And so when I put together my video showing my products or what I was planning on doing for Gratitude Documented, I showed these little mini traveler's notebook inserts that I put together. So they only have 3 sheets of paper folded in half, so they're just a few pages. They're super small, and it's 1 per week, and that way I can kind of tackle it in smaller bouts. And so here are my first 2. This is for significant other and kids/pets. And so I have found it's helpful to kind of sit down and work on 2 days at once. That way I can make the pages unique for that particular photo and prompt, but cohesive in the products that I'm using. And so this was the first 2 days that I did using some products from Felicity Jane, and then today I'm going to use some goodies from the Wild Hare Kits. So I have these 2 photos, and the prompts for these 2 days are home and quiet. Now it's supposed to be home on day 3 and then quiet on day 4, but the way that this photo is laid out with my hand, I'm actually going to switch these just because I think visually it's going to work better. I know that's kind of crazy, but these are older photos. For me, being thankful for being quiet is just giving me an opportunity to spend time with God, and usually that is crafting, so both of those things together. And this photo of this little mini canvas that I painted with Be Still kind of embodies that, so that's that photo. And then for home, I have a photo of this trail that's very close to our home, and where I live at in Central California, it's only pretty for about 3 weeks out of the year. The rest of the year it's dry, ugly, and nasty, and so this was one of those days where it is pretty for a small amount of time, and this was taken a couple years ago, but it looks like this every spring. So I'm going to use that photo, and like I said, I'm going to use some products from my November kit from the Wild Hare Kits and kind of show you how I quickly put this together. I haven't really been doing a whole lot of journaling. This is more just big, bold titles, photos, and that's it. Keeping it very simple to just kind of flip through and not worrying about the journaling aspect of it. So let's go ahead. I'll put you on fast forward. We'll dive in and put together this spread.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start on the left-hand side of that Be Still photo, and I had this paper from the Pink Paisley Auburn Lane collection with all those little triangles, and off camera I went ahead and cut a bunch of the triangles out, and I actually use the branding strip at the bottom because I just couldn't cut into this paper for just a bunch of little triangles. So I use that branding strip, and then I'm going to use the back side of the paper to mount my photo. So I am still trying to hoard every little piece of my kit this month because I love everything about it. It's killing me to tear into it, which sounds so silly. But I'm going to go ahead and just back this photo. And today I had watched, or the day that I was doing this, I had watched a video by Heba from My Little Journal, and she had mentioned about tearing your layers versus cutting your layers and how it just gave them a little bit more life. And so obviously I was very inspired by that, so I'm tearing my layers. But to be honest, for the rest of this week, I don't tear any more of my layers. It's just, I don't know, it's just not natural for me, and there's something about tearing into these 12 by 12 papers that just feels like, I don't know, my OCD can't handle it. So I don't know, but it worked for this. I went ahead and also layered that wood grain paper. I think that's from the Heidi Swap Emerson Lane collection. That paper is beautiful, and again, it killed me to tear into it, but I love how the tones of that wood grain really go well with the golds and yellows of the Auburn Lane collection. So I wanted to kind of tie all of that in. So I'm taking all of these triangles that I cut out of that paper and I'm running it through my Xyron sticker maker and turning them into stickers. That way they're easier to just quickly stick down. And so you can see now they're all on that paper and they've been made into stickers. So I'm just going to add a sprinkling of these around the page. And so this is an easy way to add some interest and some elements without it being lots of bulk or having to buy lots of product. This is just a branding strip from that paper, and it turns out to be really the majority of the embellishment that I do on this side of the spread. So I decided to go ahead and add the triangles to the top of my photo and layering. Initially, I was going to have it in the background, but I thought it just kind of played a little bit better to be over the top and just was a little bit more noticeable. And so I, ahead of time, had kind of staged where I wanted these and then took a photo. And so now I'm using the photo off camera as a reference to stick them down now that they have adhesive on the back of them. And it just was a good way to pull in a variety of the colors from the collections, and that way I could play with all of them and just have some cohesion between the two days that I was working on. So that was pretty quick and easy to stick down. And then I decided to go ahead and pull out the rub-on transfers from the Auburn Lane collection and add, they had these little like asterisks on there, and so I'm going to add those to just add some more like movement and just interest to those clusters of triangles. And my name is Lindsey, and I'm officially addicted to rub-on transfers. They got used so much this week, and I've just tried to find an excuse to put them on everything. These are really great if you're working in a traveler's notebook because it's a fun way to add interest and add elements without adding any bulk whatsoever. I mean, these aren't even bulky like stickers. So you can really add, if you're into die cuts and ephemera and stickers and things like that, you can still get that look without the bulk of adding that to your traveler's notebook. Or for Bible journaling, these are great for Bible journaling because again, they don't add a lot of bulk and you can layer them over the top of everything. I, on the next page, ended up layering them over the top of the photo and all kinds of things. So I am obsessed with those right now. I pulled out these gold thickers from my stash. These weren't from a kit, they were just something that I had, and I'm using a mixture of those with these Pink Fresh Studios alpha stickers that were sent in my November kit. And that will be my title there, Thankful for Quiet. And I like that the colors of these lines are reflected in that photo also. There's gold tones and pinks and things like that. So it really worked with the photo. So I can go ahead and move on to the other side. And there was this really pretty frame from the Auburn Lane collection. And so I'm going to use that to frame in this photo. And I love the way that this turned out. And again, this photo really, just the colors of it went well with the colors of these paper lines. And so typically, I turn my photos into black and white just because they're a little bit easier to use that way. But for these, it happened to work out just fine. So on that frame, there's this spot where you can add a date. And I didn't really want to date that picture because the date doesn't really matter. It looks like that every single year. So I'm going to go ahead and just use this banner piece from the Auburn Lane die cuts. And I'm going to add some more rub-on transfer on there, and it says love this. And you can see I'm gently pulling the paper away, and so I can see if it didn't get a good transfer, I can go back in and rub it some more to get it to transfer well. So just if you work at it slowly, you can get a really nice transfer and you don't have it all splotchy. And then there was that little house die cut from the Auburn Lane collection, and I struggle using little houses and things in my memory keeping because I don't take a lot of photos of my home or things like that, and so this was a great opportunity to use up one of those die cuts. But before I stick all that down, I am going to add this really pretty little cluster of line drawn florals just to kind of fill in the blank spot that was going to be left once I stuck all of that down. And you can see again, I'm just working in little pieces as I pull it up just to make sure that I don't miss rubbing over any of the transfer. And then I can cut off anything that's hanging over the edge, and then that just adds a little bit of texture down in that bottom corner there. And before I stick everything down, I'm just kind of testing and making sure it's where I want it. And I can still, once I add the adhesive, just lightly stick my stuff down. That way I can still move it around if I need to. And I'll use that banner to cover up that date spot. And I don't know, this kit is just beautiful. These colors, that pink and that burgundy and the gold is just, I'm all about that for fall. It's so, so pretty. So I did go ahead and pick up some gold thread to use with this kit this month. And so I'm going to create a little tangled nest of this like coppery, I'm sorry, not gold, it's copper thread behind that die cut house, just to add some texture and fun behind it. It really, not a whole lot of it shows. And so what I'm doing is wrapping it around my fingers first, and then I add some tape down to the page, and then I can kind of fuss with the nest of thread a little bit easier, and it's not like squirrely since it's sticking to the tape that's down there. And then I can just kind of pull at it and pull pieces out and make it look haphazard, but intentionally haphazard behind there. And I just love the texture that adds behind. Then I have these pieces here. These were from one of the cut apart sheets from the Auburn Lane collection. And so I pulled out this Home Sweet Home. Again, another opportunity to use a piece that I typically wouldn't really get to use in my memory keeping. And so it works for this day's prompt. And then this piece here was also in that cut apart. And so I'm just cutting a fishtail banner end into each end. And this is going to end up being where my title goes. So I'm going to use that cut apart as part of my title. And you can see I didn't really do a whole lot to the background of this layout. I kept it white because there's just so much texture and color and elements and things going on. I decided to not do any patterns or paints or inks in the background. That word grateful is also from that cut apart sheet. So you can see I pretty much did the entire title just from a few pieces of the cut apart sheet. I will pull in those Pink Fresh Studio stickers once again. So grateful for Home Sweet Home. And I am not doing any kind of journaling in this project. I'm just documenting photos. And so you can journal if that's what you want to do, but I decided just to let the photos kind of in the prompts speak for themselves. And my plan is to set these books out each year on a coffee table, and that way you can flip through them and look through them at any time. And there's no like private journaling. It's just photo memories. You can see, of course, I am going back to those rub-on transfers, and here's where I add it to the photo. And I had a little issue here where one of the other transfers kind of got stuck onto my photo, and that's one downside to using these rub-on transfers, is that can happen. You just want to be careful that you're not pushing on the other transfers while you're handling that sheet. But I just pull out a craft pick and kind of gently scrape away, and I'm able to get most of it off of the photo, and it worked out fine. So there's a look at the finished project. Be sure to check out the blog post over at the Wild Hare Kits to see more up-close photos. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. Check out links in the description box to the Wild Hare Kits, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.